We'll try to answer questions. We just thought we would hop on. We haven't been updating videos in a little bit, just every week. Do new pasture and the elk, watching the elk. Like the elk are calving.
Yeah.
And so
we saw some baby ones, what, a week ago?
Yeah, about almost a week ago, we saw some babies, maybe like 6. And then the last day that we've seen them is either Saturday or Sunday. And we have not seen them out in the herds, out in the fields since. So we drove by and there was an elk at the opening of the hunting side of the property. And then we drove by a couple hours later and it was still there. And we haven't seen them really since. Neighbors have seen, there was an elk, there was a baby born yesterday, a calf in the morning. But other than that, I think they're just staying back in there.
Yep.
Maybe just hunkering down and just kind of staying back in the trees and finding pasture grass back there. So yeah, so what have we been working on?
We've been working on the garden. We've been making some compost for the garden, sifting it. We sift it in a sifter, make it nice and small. Look at that. That's really good
Chicken,
compost.
Goat, some of their bedding from last year.
A lot of straw, stuff like that.
That was from last year. We just kind of did something simple. I was just throwing it in this area here. And then we have our piles from this year that we're going to rotate and wet down and whatnot. But other than that, we've been working on...
Her onions are doing really well.
Yeah, should we show... Let me see if I can turn this around. We'll show the onions. We got onions, some strawberries, spinach, lettuce, kale, carrots, the raspberries, the peas, doing really well. Kind of some of the peppers. We're in northwest Montana, so surprisingly enough this year, we have not had a frost. So I chose to start my plants a little early, probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I covered them once, but we didn't even have a frost then. And so that is why it may seem like things are a little bit big, because the potatoes are pretty big. Onions are doing pretty well. The beans are up. The one thing that is interesting is I planted 2 or 3 weeks ago the squash, yellow squash and zucchini, and I have one that's coming up. So I replanted that a few days ago and hope to see that come up. We haven't been able to
the fruit trees too.
Get the tarp on the greenhouse, so we haven't been able to use that yet. Some more squash and our pumpkins. We've got our pumpkins coming up. And corn. This is my first year experience with corn. So we are super excited.